What's up guys, it's Mike for Sim Racing 604. Welcome back to the showroom here in rFactor 2. And for the first time, I'd like to introduce you to the Ferrari 126C2. This is the 1982 Formula One car from the Ferrari team, piloted in this case by the great Gilles Villeneuve. Unfortunately, it is also the late, great Gilles Villeneuve. Gilles Villeneuve lost his life while driving this car in 1982 at the Belgian Grand Prix at the then Zolder track. It is now, of course, moved to Spa. And for the second time in a row, unfortunately, I have to add this disclaimer. Previously, I did a video about the Williams FW16 in which Ayrton Senna lost his life, and this 126, unfortunately, this was the car that Gilles was driving when he lost his life. So I said it before with the FW16 review, and I'll say it here again. It's a bit of a dark history to this car, but we can look at it like we get to carry on the legacy of some of the sport's all-time greats, in this case Canadian Gilles Villeneuve, who is remembered throughout F1, including having a circuit named after him at the Canadian Grand Prix in Montreal. So let's talk a little bit about this great mod car. So the Ferrari 126 is actually named after its engine configuration, in this case a 120-degree V6 engine. It's a turbo V6 engine, and this is all mated to an H-pattern shifter, and the styling of the car is really interesting. I enjoy the styling of it. One thing that's really cool about F1 styling over the years is that it tends to not leap. It tends to go in incremental steps. So when you look at this, you can very much see a few years back with the Lotus 79 styling, moving forward to a few years after this car where we had something like the Lotus 98T, and you can see this is like the perfect synthesis of those two F1 cars. So it's very neat to see the evolution of F1 and captured here in the early 80s. The car had a tremendous amount of success on track. The 126 was kept for a number of F1 years through various generations. The C2 in this case was the second year they ran it in the 1982 season, and it continued on and had tremendous success, including winning 2 Constructors' Championships for Ferrari with this car. Unfortunately, Gilles was not there to see it through to that point, but the car did have a great amount of success overall. So great to see it captured here. This is by ASR Formula. ASR Formula has been making great mods for a very long time. They used to focus on Assetto Corsa. They've since shifted their focus to rFactor 2 and have brought us a series of absolutely incredible mods, and this is the latest early access from them. It's available for €3 now, or you can hold out till the full version, which will probably be in the next year or two, which should be free. Alright, let's get this thing out on track. Alright guys, so here we are on track, Imola 1972 in the Ferrari 126 C2. No pit limiter in this thing, so we'll just take it kind of easy here as we exit the pits. Hey, who put that modern Camaro there next to the VW bus? As you might well imagine, this car is very sensitive to temperature. Excuse me, to tire temperature and brake temperature. So we'll take it somewhat easy on this outlap. And just little taps on the accelerator as we downshift. It's not an overly dramatic blip shift. You may recognize parts of this circuit if you're used to modern Imola. They've done a great deal of change over the years, but the general layout, you can see a lot of familiarity from old to new. Alright, things are already feeling pretty good here. Brakes are definitely up to temperature. I'm not sure quite if the tires are or not, but they're feeling okay. There's perhaps a bit less haptic feel in this car than what I'm used to from ASR Formula. Car feels slightly numb. Could be placebo. But other than that, I don't really have a lot to say. And even that's not that severe. The internal sounds when driving this thing, absolutely fantastic. Certainly has that vintage sort of vibe to it. The sounds do, that is. And visually, I don't know that I've seen many cars in rFactor 2 look this good. It is outstanding. All the pipework behind the engine, everything. It really comes together nicely. Beautiful looking car. And as far as drivability, I really, really like it. I like what they've done with it. I find that sometimes people try and make these cars too difficult to drive. I mean, who knows what they were actually like to drive. Of course, it took a great deal of skill to get it around a track fast. Sometimes I think people go, or some modding teams go too far in the difficult direction when creating sort of the driving characteristics of the car. But that doesn't seem to be the case here with this 126C2. Everything feels on point. Challenging, but still very drivable. So if you want this in early access, it's going to cost you about €3. It will likely eventually reach version 1.0 and be free to the world. But for now, you can support ASR Formula, buy them a cup of coffee or a beer as they work through the future designs and updates to this. Whoa. Updates to this car. Need to update my driving skills, apparently. Alright, we'll go one more here, guys. But if you're here for the summary, if you've skipped ahead, really like it. It's an excellent little car. Great challenge to drive. Great piece of history. I've done a few takes of this video. Really gotten used to, or starting to get used to, the feel of the car. And over the course of these 20 or so laps that I've run so far, it's just felt great. And it grows on me more and more. It's quite an experience to drive. Whoops. A little bit of grass there. Down the hill one last time here. Better line that time. Very cool. Nicely done. ASR Formula once again. You guys just don't seem to disappoint.
That was a 1:27.80.
Alright, Ferrari 126C2 now available through asrformula.com. This is the early edition, the early access edition. It's going to cost you about €3 to own this, but it gets a strong recommendation from me. An excellent, excellent vintage F1 car. Thanks guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time.